So we are here today to spend this morning with an interesting talk. Our guest is Carlos Bartolomé, the lead designer at Renault Group. Thank you for coming and hello.
Hello everybody.
So what's your morning routine look like? Do you have any rituals that make it more special and enjoyable?
I mean, right now this is a topic that has changed a lot with the COVID. So with the home office and everything, the routines has been completely different. But normally what I used to do is when I arrive, if I'm in the studio, not at home, but at home as well, I take a coffee. If I'm in the studio, to say hello to the people, to do a little bit of team building always. It's nice to say hello to the people, have this family feeling. And then I check the mail and the planning to see the most important meetings that I have to get them priority as well. Try to focus on the most important things. And then I usually check the modeler, the CAD modelers and the clay modelers. If we have a clay model, and then I talk with them because normally they arrive earlier, and the day before we have to give them sketches, information, something to continue working. So in the morning I arrive to check what they have done, or to talk what we are going to do this morning during the day. That's it normally. That's what I do.
Okay, so you worked in the automotive industry since 2007. Why did you choose it?
Well, at the beginning was not so clear, but I was wanted to do something with the design, maybe sketching. So I was interested in fine arts and then architecture as well. But then I discovered, I didn't know it, but I discovered industrial design. That was a new degree at that time. So it was quite new. The light is not so good. So I discovered this one and I was quite surprised because it was a good mix between this art and this engineering, this production thing, was to kind of doing piece of art, but in production. So it was a good balance for me. And then I studied there. But at the beginning, I didn't know that I wanted to do car design. I wanted to do product design or industrial design in general. And then I found the car design because it was super interesting. I mean, the car is something that it has something quite strong. It's a desired object. You can get emotions from the car that you can have from a television, for example. And it's super nice, like the feeling, the thing that you live in a car, with the emotions that the car transmits to you, you can feel with that. It's not the same. It's different than in a normal product, I guess. You can have the best technology. You can have the best engineering, everything together in a nice product. So for me, it's a super nice product. It has more emotional thing.
Okay, one of your first internships was in Audi. That's quite impressive. Tell us more about it and how did you end up there?
Well, at that time I was studying in Valencia, and I arrived there to study industrial design. Then I met a teacher who was working in transportation design master in Valencia in the Polytechnic University. Then I moved there, and then when I was studying there, I was doing an internship in a company in Valencia, and some teachers from this school, they were working at the studio. And at the end of the first year, a designer from Audi, Jorge Diaz, that right now is the design director at Seat Cupra, he went to see the presentation. And I was in the first year, there were 2 years, and he liked what I did, I guess. And he asked for some portfolios from the degree to do an internship there at Audi, and the university selected 3 guys, me and 2 more, and one of them he refused asked him to go, and he when they proposed to if he was interested to go there, he said no because he wanted to stay there in Spain at the moment for personal reasons. So I got the chance to go with another guy from university, and this is how I started.
How was your internship there?
It was super cool because it was my first experience in a car company. At the same time, it was my first experience working abroad in a foreign country. So all this German culture thing, when the contrast with the Spanish culture was very cool. And Audi is a super brand, you know, when you see how it works and all the history they have, the models. So you learned a lot. Because in the university you can learn, but you need to learn by your own normally sometimes. But when you are there, you're surrounded by a group of super professionals, and then you learn. You know, you're like a vacuum cleaner. You take everything what they do things, and you learn every day. You learn a lot more than when you are not in this environment. So it was super cool. It's a very good company to learn.
Then why did you switch from Audi after finishing your internship to Seat and then Renault?
I finished my internship at Audi, and the very last day when I did the presentation at Audi, and the next day I had to go to Spain because I had my degree show in Valencia. So it was super fast. I took a plane and then I moved there because at Audi was an internship. And then I was presenting. I had to present the next day. There were people from SEAT, Ital Design, and different companies. I arrived a little bit late because I couldn't arrive earlier. It's too late, sorry. and then I was there, but the people was interested in my portfolio. The people from universities and the portfolio as well to say it, and they called me. So right after I finished my internship at Audi, I was proposed to start in SEAT. I was very lucky. That's very important, to be lucky to be in the right moment in the right place. So my internship at Audi helped me a lot to have a better curriculum portfolio, and then it was easier to move to another company like SEAT. But this was an internship as well at the beginning. And yeah, I was doing exterior design at Audi, and then when I started in SEAT, the position they had was in interior design, and this is why I became an interior designer, because then I switched, and then little I like it more, you know, because interiors are quite complex sometimes, and more than the exterior. But then I started to learn more, and then I'm happy with this. And then I switched from when I finished the internship. I started working at SEAT. At the beginning, I was lucky again because, you know, you can be you can work very hard, but then the lack factor is always there. So we are not so so brilliant sometimes, and you need a little bit of luck. So the guy left the team at SEAT, and there was a position. I was finishing my internship, and then they offered me to go in. At the beginning, I was going as contractor with an external company, but then this guy left, and I had a SEAT contract, and that's it. And then I started with a little. And then after 7 years, you asked me why I moved to Renault as well.
So yeah, that's the next question.
Yeah, and then I worked. I was very happy at SEAT. Cool. Barcelona, it's a nice city, the company, the people. I learned a lot because it was my first job, and then I learned a lot because, you know, SEAT was cool because you have the Volkswagen Group environment with all the technology, all the engineering of the platforms. But then you have this Spanish way of working that is pretty cool as well. Somehow, you know, this mix of two cultures together. And we had the chance to do very cool things. Well, I started with Luke Notevolke, and then Alejandro came. Alejandro Mesonero Romano, but now it's in Alfa Romeo. And I was working there. I had the chance to work in some other like Ibiza, Morocco, and Shop at the 2020. And then after some years there, I had the chance to go to Renault. I received an offer from them. They were looking especially for people from Volkswagen Group. They wanted to improve their quality, to take a little bit from the Volkswagen inspiration in terms of quality, I guess. And then they called me, and I always like Renault because for a designer, Renault is super cool, super important. It's the French way. It's much more open and creative, not so rigid like the German style. So I think it was a very interesting to change to see the other side of the car industry. You know, you have the Japanese culture, the American, and then inside Europe you have a very contrast quite big between France and Germany as well. And then you have the Italian way that is different. And then I decided to come, and yeah, it was a challenge because they wanted to do a new strategy with a new formal language, and yeah, there was a lot to do. It was super interesting, super interesting.
Okay, how do you feel creating such a revolutionary model as Megane E-Tech? I believe it's a huge responsibility and a great challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's I didn't create myself anything. I mean, the question is well done, but we have to remember that it's a team thing. You know, it's for me, it was an honor to participate in the car. But if you see the list of the people who work there, it's amazing. There are so many people working on a project like this. I was working with Magali, was the designer, was a senior designer at the time. I started at the beginning, creating a little bit the concept model until the end of the project. But then there was a lot of models, different designers' view that converge in one, and it's a very long process. I had a chance to be all around the process, so I was very happy. But then there are a lot of people working, like the chief designer was Massimo Barbieri, then you have to doing the L-shape, the screens, that this was a very important thing, with Maxime Guillet, with the previous work from Laurent Negroni, Damien Noir, Maxime Pinot, he worked in the last phase of the car when I left at the end of the project. And people from Seat, Robert Philippe, Didier Van Daag, he working on the roof panels, the interior parts, and current trim people. That's just an interior design, you know. I maybe mentioned 10 names or more, and like 15 people just in interior, because every one of us, they do a part of it. Maybe I was creating the global ambient, but there are a lot of people working in everything. And then you have the project leaders, so like Stephanie, Agneta, everybody, a lot of people involved in the project. But it's a super responsibility somehow as well, but it's super cool because you feel that you are participating in something different because it's a change. It's a new platform, it's an electric car, the new full electric future for Renault. So it's quite a point of inflection in the company as well, and the chance is to be a world reference. That is something that at Seat is very important, but maybe the reference could be more the Volkswagen model. But now in Renault, the change was that I was working for the car that would be the reference in Europe and in the world. So very important challenge.
Okay, talking about challenges, what were the biggest challenges in Renault for you so far?
The big challenge was to work with a new platform, for example. But you're talking about the car in general? Are you asking in the car? In this case, for example, the challenge was because we changed the architecture of the car, the distribution of the elements with the batteries. So the space that we had to work was different. So this is an innovation, and then in the electric cars, you have, for example, the door is higher because you have the batteries in the low part, so the proportion of the elements, they change. You don't have the heater inside the car, the normally is in the console zone, and then it's because you have a very big volume in this area of the console. But in this case, we have nothing there, so we can remove it. We push, and the engineers they put it in the engine outside. So we have a very open space for storage there. It was pretty cool. But to find the good balance with the new platform, the new distribution of the element, that was very, very hard at the moment. And to find as well a new language for an electric car, but to be Renault, but you know, and how to integrate the technology, because if you see the Megane E-Tech, and we'll see in the new Austral that is coming right now in some weeks, it will be presented 8th of March, I guess. And you see that the L-shape, this screen that we did here in Renault, it's an element that is very important, and to create an environment at the same level that matched well with this subject was a challenge as well. Yeah.
Okay, and what was your favorite thing about working there, like in general?
In Renault, what I like to work in
yeah.
Renault, a little bit like I told before, it's the French way to do things that is quite different from the German way I knew before. I was an Audi in the internship, and Audi. I had contact with Volkswagen, everything. So, but in general, you know, the planning and everything, the way to do was quite similar from all the brands of Volkswagen. Here in Renault, it's the French way is quite different. Germans, they work for, you know, they need to make a choice, and it's very difficult to change. You know, they have a line and they go straight, and there are like different small changes around, and the project can stop and can continue. But then they need to have a very fixed planning, and they have to, and the way they work, so it's cool. And everybody is responsible for everything, each thing that they're working for. And in Germany, it's very important, the presentation. You know, we spend a lot of time working for the presentation, because everything has to be super clear, super perfect, no mistake. And in France, it's the same professional thing. They are very professional in a different way. We work more in the design, in the sketch, in the creativity, and the presentations, they are not so square. You know, they are very nice, very well done, but we don't spend so many time doing the presentation. We spend more time sketching sometimes, and yeah, and that's it. It's a different way, and the French, like the Germans, they go straight. Here in France, it's very useful to talk a lot about everything. You know, we discuss everything a lot, and then it's very easy to move to another way. You know, you don't kind of you don't go straight. You move a lot, and then you're right to the straight line in a different way than the Germans. But it's quite funny to see the contrast.
Okay, since working in Renault, some might assume that you should drive one. So what is your personal vehicle of choice?
Yeah, right now I'm driving a Captur, Renault Captur. It's my only car. I don't have any other car. I'm driving it since last year, I guess, now 2020. It was quite new at the moment, so I decided to get this one because I found it very, very cool. For me, it's the most, it's the one that fits more for me, you know, this kind of SUV feeling with not very big, quite dynamic, and with the latest design language. That's very cool, different technology. Let's wait for the new Megane E-Tech, maybe the next one. Let's see.
Okay, the future of electric cars is surely bright, and with more and more people moving towards sustainability, this trend will only continue in the next few decades. So what is your prognosis for the future of electric cars, and what should we expect?
I mean, I think I'm sure that the electric car will be the future. There are some brands they're working with the hydrogen cars. Well, the hydrogen could be an alternative. I don't know. Right now, I think most of the companies will push for the electric car. The challenge will be, I think the question is not if the future will be electric. I think it will be electric, maybe car. I don't know. And the thing is that the infrastructures, you will have, the charger and everything will be adapted to this one. For me, the question is how will be the cities, the countries, the regions adapted to this change? Because the change is already here. We have already the car. It's in production, so it's a reality. But I guess if you live in the Netherlands, it's very easy to have a Tesla because I think, the proportion of people, the size of the country, and the conditions they have, it's very easy. You can see a lot of Tesla. You Amsterdam outside. If you go to Spain, it's difficult because it's a huge area compared to the Netherlands, and the population is not so big, so the resources it's not so easy. If you're in a big city like Madrid or Barcelona, will be okay, or Paris, but then we need to see what's going on in the adaptation of the chargers. So now how the petrol stations will change the model from the conventional petrol to the electrification. Let's see. I think that's a challenge for me. And then in the other side, in talking about sustainability, in Renault is pushing a lot of the companies, Renault especially, is pushing a lot in this way, with the materials, with the electrifications, reducing the CO2 emissions. This is the new challenge, how to reduce the CO2 emission. And we need to see what's going on with the batteries, with the screens, if we can recycle the screens or not, because this is quite a hard point still in the car industry. And I think that's the main points. How to the batteries will be recycled, the screens, and everything. That this will arrive. 10 years ago, I was in China, and there was a lot of electric bikes. A lot. I was surprised because in Europe we had nothing. At that time, we had nothing, and in Europe, in China, there were a lot. So this is coming. This will be like this. I'm curious to see how it will be the adaptation.
If not automotive, then what would you do for a living? Maybe do you have some crazy dreams to pursue?
Part of something like creative, like I thought fine arts or architecture, but I didn't study this. What I like is what I really enjoy. A part of this, when I was in Barcelona, I was doing theater. I was playing theater. I was in an acting group, and it was very cool because it's even if you don't become a professional, but it's very hard. The way to act for the normal day, it helps you a lot. To change your mind, to prepare, and even the way to talk with other people. There are people that is very shy and they change completely from the acting. That is very cool, I think. And then I try different things out of design, and I have the TV program, no, radio program, sorry, in a radio, kind of podcast like this. It's because I wanted to participate because I'm very fan of these kind of things. And not to talk about me, that I'm not very important, I'm not very interesting. This maybe a student can be very interesting, or any other people from how is the normal day of design. Not to talk about me, but it's the way of I'm listening a lot of podcasts right now, and I think that's very interesting. And why not? This could be an option. I like photography as well. I like music. That's it. I don't know, different things.
Okay, and we are heading to our last questions for today. What is your personal top list of books everyone should read?
Mm-hmm. That's quite ambitious. I don't know. I can say one. And what I really like when I'm reading the biographies of the people. This is my main, this I love. I love to read this. I can recommend Open, the history of Andrea Agassi, the tennis player, for example, because I really like it. I wrote it in French. And because in the biographies, you can see not just the public person, like Agassi, you see when he's winning and some topics, but then when you see the full life, the full career, not only the professional stuff, the personal life, you have the global picture of somebody who was quite important in the tennis, so in the culture, in the global world for us. And you can understand a lot about this, no? The bad moments, how he went down from the number one to the 150 of the world, and he moved up, how he hated the tennis somehow because he didn't like to play. It was his father who was very rigid, and he taught him to play, and then he was playing for a lot of years, but he has this love-hate about his profession, and it's very important. It's quite cool when you read the book, you understand a lot of things, the complex he had, and sometimes, and it's quite cool, And then biographies, the last, I remember this one, and then the last ones I read is Bill Murray. It's about Bill Murray. It's quite a character, the guy. It's quite funny to see how it's a very, very strange guy, but it's very, very cool to know about this guy. Then I wrote Instrumental by James Rhodes. It's an English piano player. Now he's living in Spain. He's quite famous there, not just as a musician, like a public person, because he's quite cool. And it's a very tragic history, but because I know the person right now, and then in the past he has suffered a lot of bad things. So you can see the contrast and how the person became, and then this can help you a lot, no? In this bad moment with the COVID, with the pandemic and everything, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and this kind of biography. Then I like the historical novel as well, because I like history and kind of, but yeah. The most I read is biographies right now, but I don't have so much time because I have a daughter, 1 year old, so I listen more podcasts than reading books right now.
Okay, thank you for your questions. And right now we'll have a little Q&A session with our attendees. So we have already the first question for you. So have you already tried Megane E-Tech? And if yes, how does it feel to drive a car that you used to have on sketches?
I tried a car, yeah. I did it 2 or 3 times. Not for a long, it was maybe 1 hour most, but the feeling is very good, very good. You feel that it's not a combustion car, normal car. The engine is an electric car, so the acceleration you have, it's amazing. You feel it feels very light somehow to be a heavy car, but it's very light. And the way it's over the road, over the highway, it's super cool. It's very stable. It has super cool balance. When you're inside this cocoon effect that you have with all the technology, it's quite cool. And then when I saw the big screen, I had doubts if maybe you were always looking to the screen because you have a lot of information there. But the truth is that when you're working, as it's aligned and everything is going down, you have, the vision field is quite clean, and you see just the windshield. You don't see all the information, and the reactivity of the car is amazing. It's very cool, very, very cool.
Okay, great. The second question is, why has Renault changed Megane from regular hatch to a crossover?
The 2 cars will be in the market. So Megane E-Tech is coming. You can buy it, but so the car will be in the street soon. But the current Megane, not the E-Tech, he will be in the market. So they live together for a while. The conventional car and the electric one. But the idea is that the Megane, the electric version will stay longer, and the normal Megane will converge into just the E-Tech. That was a transition because I think they did it because Megane is quite it's a very important name. There are things that when you change the name of the car, you have a name with a positive feeling, positive feedback, sometimes it's not good to change it, to forget it, because maybe we think that it's something different is always better, but if you have a reference name like this, like Clio, like the Megane, you have to keep it, because maybe you change, you have a new name, and the people they get lost a little bit. So because they wanted to keep this Megane, like the Megane Street, like we are Renault with Megane, but it's the new generation with a different engine.
Okay, thank you for this. And the next question is, what about Austral? It looks like Kadjar is more interesting and attractive name.
In this case, the Kadjar has not so historical as the Clio, the Megane name. It's new, and then in this case, for example, talking about the name, it was easier to change it and to do a break. Maybe the Kadjar was not so successful as the Megane or the Clio, so this is because they decided to change the name to show that it's something different, because it's really different. It's very different as well. You see things from the Megane E-Tech, but in fact, these two cars, they were designed more or less in parallel. So, they decided to present before the Megane, but then the Austral will be it's designed at the same time. So you can see a lot of elements in common with the Megane, but it's much more modern, and in terms of technology, you'll see that it's amazing. Of course, the quality is much more premium compared to the Kadjar. The quality of the elements, the design language, the technology will be amazing, especially in the interior. You'll see that it's a revolution. It's very cool.
Okay, the next question. We have a lot of questions today. That's good. Does Koleos have any future, or it is going to be more like a Kadjar story?
Sorry, can you repeat the first part?
Yeah, does Koleos have any future, or is it going to be more like a Kadjar story?
Okay, this is about I'm from design, so I don't know all the strategy on this marketing stuff, but I think Koleos will become something different. So Koleos will stay. I think I honestly have no idea how long it will be in the market, but I think that I'm sure that it's going to change to another thing, And I don't know. I don't know if it will be named Koleos. Well, but this kind of segment is not the most sold in Europe. I think this car was developed for Korea, especially, and that happened a lot. But there are cars that are really not designing or not thinking by marketing to be sold in a country or in a continent like Europe, and then they arrive, and sometimes they are success. Like the Dacia at the beginning was not supposed to be sold in France, and now it's selling a lot of cars. So I think sometimes you need to try, with different segments and models in a country to see if it's working or not, and then you have a feedback. And with Koleos, honestly, I can't say anything. I don't know.
Okay, the next question will be much easier. So what countries do you prefer for traveling?
For traveling, I like a lot to travel. I didn't mention it before, but I like to travel. I really like Peru, for example, because I recommend people going to Peru. You have a little bit of everything. You have the Amazonas, the jungle. You have the coast. You have desert. You have amazing things like Machu Picchu. That is a historical city. That's amazing to go there. And you can do a lot of things. The food is very impressive, and the people, they are very nice. They're amazing. And if you go deeper, you live the big cities are quite cool, and you go deeper in the villages, and then you can see the regions where they're talking Quechua and Aymara, the languages, and you feel that, because you can be maybe in some places of Lima, and you can feel like you're more in Europe sometimes, and then you move 2 hours or 3 hours deeper inside, and then you are in the wild American, the original one, with original languages and everything. It's super cool. Recommend Peru, for example.
Okay, and have you ever been to Ukraine?
No, never.
Would you like to?
No, I'm listening a lot right now this week. I hope everything's going well there. Let's see what's going on. But no, I've never been. But I'd like to go. To be cool. To Kiev. I don't know Kiev, but we're not so far. I mean, from Paris, maybe it's 3.5 hours. No, by plane. And then I'm sure that you have a very cool thing there. It's a very nice country. Do you recommend to go to Ukraine? Yeah.
Of course, I live here. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you all for the questions, and thank you for joining us today for this great talk. And have a great day and an awesome weekend.
Okay. Thank you. Same for you. Thank you for your call. It was very interesting to talk with you and to spend a time talking about this out of the office. So have a nice day and good luck with the podcast.
Thanks. Bye.